rain began to tap against the windows at exactly 3:07 a.m. Liana had memorized that sound by now. Every night at the same hour, she would wake up and sit in the dark, listening. From her daughter's room came the soft murmur of words, broken, breathy, almost sacred. Under her blanket, little Ilara looked peaceful, yet her lips moved gently. Daniel, under the bridge. The water is cold. At first, Liana thought it was harmless sleep-talking, a child's mind wandering through dreams. But that illusion shattered the next morning. The news anchor's voice cut through the silence of their small home. A 5-year-old boy named Daniel was found dead beneath a city bridge. Liana's heart stopped. The same name, the same place. She replayed her daughter's words over and over, that soft, sleepy whisper echoing inside her skull. A few nights later, it happened again. This time, the voice was slower and almost trembling. Sarah, garden, red flowers. Liana wrote it down in her notebook. And the next morning, she saw the name printed in the local newspaper. Sarah T., 23, reported missing last night. She began recording every whisper, every time, every word. Each night brought a new name. Each dawn brought new dread. Ilara's voice sometimes broke into laughter, sometimes tears. Sometimes she spoke as if someone else were answering her, an invisible presence sharing her dreams. One night, her tone deepened, eerily calm. "Mom, he's still here." Liana froze. "Who, Ilara?" But the child didn't respond. She was already lost in sleep. Then the house began to change. Objects moved, lights flickered. One morning, Liana found a muddy handprint on the inside of Ilara's window. It wasn't small like a child's. The fingers were long, the nails dark with soil. The mark faced inward, as if something had reached from outside trying to come in. Fear became her constant shadow. But who could she tell? The police? The neighbors? Who would believe that her little girl was whispering the names of the dead? One stormy night, Ilara's voice broke through the sound of the rain. "Mommy, someone's coming. Don't open the door." Then, a doorbell. A short, sharp chime, followed by silence. Liana turned toward the window, heart pounding. The yard was empty, but in the mud, 2 wet footprints led nowhere. They simply ended in the middle of the garden. The next day, Ilara remembered nothing. But by her bed, Liana found a strand of pale gray hair tangled in the sheets. It wasn't hers. It wasn't human. That morning, she took Ilara to a psychiatrist. The doctor listened patiently, jotting notes. "At this age," she said gently, "children sometimes express trauma through dreams. You mustn't read too much into it, but the people she names, they're real," Liana whispered. The doctor smiled thinly. "Coincidence. The mind seeks patterns in fear." At that moment, Ilara sat upright, staring into the empty corner of the room. "He's standing behind you," she said softly. The air turned cold. The pen dropped from the doctor's hand. Liana grabbed her daughter and ran. She didn't need proof anymore. She knew. The nights grew longer. Every evening at 3:07, Ilara spoke. Sometimes her tone was sorrowful, sometimes frightened, sometimes strangely serene, as though she were channeling more than one voice. One day, Liana found a new note in the notebook. "Mom, don't wake me tonight." That night, the rain came harder than ever. Thunder roared, the lights flickered. Then Ilara's voice, not from the room, but from the walls themselves. "Mom, listen to me now." Liana ran into the bedroom. Ilara sat upright, eyes still closed, a shadow stretching behind her. For an instant, a hand appeared, thin, gray, trembling, and vanished. The next morning, a soaked letter lay in their mailbox. "He's calling for you too." The ink hadn't bled. The paper was drenched but untouched, as if the rain refused to destroy the words. From that day forward, Liana stopped speaking. She only listened to her daughter's voice, the whispers in the walls, the rhythm of the rain. And then one night, Ilara stopped talking altogether. There was no whisper, no sound, just silence. But in that silence, something else spoke. A faint voice, gentle and deep. "Thank you." Liana rushed to the room. Ilara was asleep. On the fog glass of the window, a single word appeared. End. Morning came. The doors were locked. The windows sealed. Ilara was gone. Only her notebook remained on the bed. Every name she had ever whispered was written there. Every detail, perfectly ordered. And at the bottom, one last line. "Mom, 3:07. The clock struck. Tick, tock, 3:07. Liana fell to her knees. The rain had stopped. Then came the whisper. "Mommy, don't be afraid. I'm not talking anymore. I'm listening." Liana walked to the window. Through the fading mist, at the edge of the forest, stood a small figure. Ilara. Arms open, face lifted toward the sky, a peaceful smile upon her lips. And then, she was gone. After that night, the disappearances stopped. Police records closed. The city moved on. But the house by the forest still stood. And every night at 3:07, a light flickered in the window. The rain would start again, softly, like breathing. And if you listened closely, you could hear it, a whisper carried by the storm. Liana never stopped listening. Sometimes the voice was distant. Sometimes it was right beside her ear. But she wasn't afraid anymore, because she knew some dreams never end. Some whispers never die. And sometimes a mother lives forever inside her child's dream.